to our 2022 New Year's video. This is a Tall and Small production. My name is Emi.
And I'm Jess.
And this year we are making one of our favorites from last year's video, mince pies.
Mince pies are a fruit pie that we have in the UK around Christmas. They're made of pastry and mincemeat. And mincemeat is a bit confusing for American viewers. The mincemeat does not contain any meat. It does have suet in it, and suet is traditionally made of animal fat.
You said that this was your grandmother's recipe?
That's right. So my grandmother, Leslie Duffield, was the baker of the family, and this is her pastry recipe, which she made thousands of times during her life. So it's very tried and tested. And we're going to use a mincemeat recipe, which is not exactly my grand's recipe, but my mum chose it because it's the closest she could find to my grand's recipe.
Was there anything that we had to change for the recipe? Because I know obviously your mom's using, stuff from the UK that you can get easily.
That's true. Yes, I did have to ask people in the aisle at the supermarket what mixed spice might be called here. And we ended up going for a mixture of allspice and some other spices that I bought separately.
Okay. That sounds really delicious. You already know that I love mince pie, so I'm probably gonna love whatever we come up with.
It should be pretty tasty.
Okay. Before that though, we made each other special aprons. So we haven't seen these aprons yet. It's a complete surprise. So we're gonna go ahead and exchange aprons first.
Excellent.
I can hear beads.
Okay, it's ready.
Is it an octopus? It's a Santapus! Oh my god. That's adorable. And you did put the holiday baubles on it.
It's octopus decorating the tree.
No, he's what are you, like, flocking the tree or something? Yeah. Did you cut up a Santa hat?
I cut up a Santa hat, yeah. It felt a little bit sacrilegious.
This is adorable. I love cephalopods, and especially cuttlefish and octopus, so thank you.
Yeah. So glad you like it.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes.
Oh, no.
It's the bat Tiffany.
It's got the bat signal.
So there's Bat Mary or Martha with the blue thing upside down, and then Bat Joseph and baby Bat Jesus.
This is cute.
The bat symbol instead of the star.
Yes.
We are now kitted out and ready to do some baking. Welcome to our new kitchen. As you can see, we have upgraded a little bit. Over the last year, we got a new house in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
And now, instead of having a maximum 2-butt kitchen,
you have like a 1.5 butt kitchen.
That was the old house.
Yes.
1.5 butt kitchen.
Yeah.
This house, at least 5 butts.
Yeah. In fact, we've tested it. 5 butts is actually about how many butts fit in here. Not only have we upgraded our cooking space, so thus we've upgraded some of our cooking. So we're actually cooking this year instead of just microwaving things.
And I've already started because the mincemeat needs to be prepared at least a day in advance, so it has a chance for the dried fruit to absorb all that nice orange juice that's in there, and for everything to plump up a bit. Yeah, and this is not a Martha Stewart, so we weren't going to make a second one and then just put it in the fridge. No. And then pop out a beautiful new one. So yeah, Jess did start on this a couple of days ago. Yes, at which point I learned a couple of things about our cooking situation. One was that we didn't have any vegetarian suet. That must have got lost in the move.
Yeah.
And the other was we have 2 zesters and no grater. So I couldn't grate the apple, I had to chop it very finely, and that seems to have worked out.
It kind of, I thought it was like cheese or something, so is that apple?
That's the cut-up apple.
Oh, okay, that's the cut-up apple.
The pale stuff. So what you would have expected to see in here would be little sticks of suet, little white flecks in there, but because I didn't have the suet, I read online that you can just leave it out. So
okay. So for the Americans, what is in this? Because right now it just looks like a bunch of brown.
So you have raisins. You have what you call yellow raisins.
Yeah, just yellow raisins.
Right, and we call sultanas. You also have currants in there, and some glacé cherries in red and green, because over here you have green ones in the supermarket at this time of year.
I have no defense for my countrymen. I don't know why we would have made something as disgusting as green see-through cherries.
There is also some brown sugar, some golden syrup, and a bunch of spices.
And what is golden syrup?
This is golden syrup, and it is partially inverted refiner's syrup.
They take a bee and then turn it inside out and get partially inverted golden syrup? Yeah, what's in it?
It is, it's just sugar.
Oh, okay.
They're a sugar refining company.
Okay.
They refine sugar into different syrups. And this is golden syrup, which is a really light one, which you use in baking.
Okay.
And you could also put it on your pancakes.
I was just about to say, I remember that you put this on pancakes. Okay.
Delicious.
Right. Delicious indeed. Okay, so since you've already made the mincemeat, what are we doing today?
We're going to make the pastry.
Let's go ahead and bust out the stuff for making pastries.
For pastry making. Okay. So we're going to use 4 ingredients here. Your all-purpose flour, baking powder, margarine, and water. And you want cold water. We keep ours in the fridge, so that helps. So I'm going to weigh out the dry ingredients. Then I'm going to add the margarine, and then you go through a process of rubbing the fat into the flour. So let's start weighing out our ingredients. Here's the baking powder. Margarine. Now I'm going to ruin it. And I'm going to rub the fat into the flour. I think this takes a little while. And the idea is you end up with a cohesive ball of pastry. So you can see at the moment I've rubbed up most of the fat into the flour, but it's not holding together in one ball, and that's where the water comes in. Okay, I've now been able to mop up all the crumbs into this one piece. So I think that means we are ready to roll it out.
This is a bit like cooking class that I took in middle school.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I did cooking, I think, for like all 3 years of middle school, and they always made us do like stuff like this where they're like, oh, roll out the pastry, and we use shortening for everything, which is a very like 50s thing.
Is shortening the same as lard?
It's like the low rent version of lard.
Because lard's pretty low rent.
Oh, because it's vegetable. It's vegetable shortening.
Right.
It's Crisco.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so we used Crisco instead of butter because it was cheaper.
In my middle school, we had a project where we had to make a meal for a teacher. And so we had to come up with like a biscuit like snack to give them beforehand, and then like a starter, a main course, and a pudding, and something to drink. And
so did you actually serve these to a teacher?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was really sweet. They came in at lunchtime.
Oh, and they were like, "Oh, thank you for giving me whatever this is."
Yeah, I really remember it, and she gave me, the teacher we fed gave me a bookmark.
Oh, that's
so
sweet.
thank you.
Do we need to worry about like a liquid amount in here? Because these are deeper than the ones that you're used to cooking.
It's at this point any real liquid has soaked into the fruit and fattened it up. So I would say it's more of a syrup now.
Okay.
I think it'll be okay. But remind me you said this when we picked them out and they were all like soggy bottoms.
Yeah.
When I asked my mum what temperature I should cook these at, she said a low oven, because she doesn't really work in temperatures because she has an Aga. An Aga is like a kitchen range, which is, in my mum's case, is heated by gas, but it used to be heated by coal. So we had a coal cellar. Parents would bring up coal every day to feed the Aga. So you really can't dictate to an Aga what temperature. You just have to work with what you've got.
Yeah, I remember the coal chute that's in your basement.
That's right.
When did it get switched to gas?
After I'd moved out.
Like
so my
in the 2000s?
Yeah, my whole childhood it was coal. And I could claim I was terribly mistreated and made to go get the coal, but this absolutely wasn't true. My parents did all the chores, to be honest. It's got to be at least one wonky one.
There's the shrimp one in cup number 7. One problem with our house when we moved in was this oven that's been here probably since the 70s. The time has been stopped on 421. I think it was probably, some teenager probably changed it to 420, and then I think an adult was like, no, 421. But like, you can see that the glass is completely cracked. You like can't even read the dials. There's some dials just missing, and it was cracked on top when we moved in, but within 2 weeks of us moving in, we completely smashed the glass on one side. The oven is completely missing a handle, and while it looks like it's this lovely, beautiful, like wide oven, when you open it, it's missing half the oven size. So it's a bit of a bait and switch. Anyway, this thing is going to be trashed after this holiday season. We will be getting a new one, so may it rest in peace.
It isn't really a pastry brush. I think it's probably for meat.
It is.
But this was what I could find when I needed a pastry brush, so.
What's going on with number 8 there?
This one here.
Yeah.
This is the one that was made of the last of the pastry and just a bunch of mincemeat because we got to the point where you can really cut out circles anymore. So that's more of a, don't know, a grab bag.
Bag of mincemeat.
Mincemeat grab bag. Done.
Okay, all right, we're ready to put
them
in
in the oven.
So we ended up with seven pies.
And a lot of leftover mincemeat.
Yes, we're gonna end up probably making some for New Year's, I would assume.
I think so.
All right, Jess, show us your pies.
Okay, so let's cut into one. So I'm reasonably pleased. I think Paul Hollywood, at least it wouldn't say that was soggy. It could maybe be crisper. I'm not sure if it should be crisper.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's cut into it. Oh, it holds its shape.
It's still in a cup shape.
It's not soggy.
No? I was a little worried with how much it was, but I think after they cooled down a bit. That's delicious. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm pleased about that because they did, we did them for initial 20 minutes, I think, and then they were looking like they were starting to go like golden, and we gave them a bit longer, and then we thought they were done. Then we pulled them out, and I looked at the base of one of them, and it was like completely still raw.
And so we stuck them back in.
Put them back in and kept putting them on for another 5 minutes or another 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I think they ended up baking for like almost an hour, actually.
Yeah, that's what I would say is about 3 times longer than we thought.
Yeah.
And probably that is that our oven was not hot enough.
Yeah, I would agree. I think next time if we make these, you pump it up to like 450 or something. Might be closer to like the 30 minutes that we were expecting. I feel like I could eat maybe like 2 of these max, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm good.
I'm having to resist eating. I just continuing to finish this one. To be honest, it's really
okay.
Good.
You can shovel it in after.
After we wrap. Awesome. Yeah, I think my gran would.
You've done her recipe.
Pretty well.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of other baking with your grandmom?
So my grandma was just a great baker. I did some baking with her, definitely, and more with my mum. But all the recipes we would use would be my gran's recipes because she'd developed them over years. So my gran had students who lived with her in the big house, and she would cook in the big kitchen of this like manor house they lived in. And she always had baked goods in biscuit tins piled up in a
just
stack
like for the students to come and grab.
For people just to come in and grab. She's
sweet.
A big feeder.
Did she have the kind of oven in her house like you guys had?
An Aga, yes.
So that made it probably easier to pass on her recipes to your mom.
Yes, because it would cope with how to cook in an Aga.
Well, it's nice that your mom or either your grandmother was able to pass down a bunch of recipes for you.
Yeah, the main thing I would do in the kitchen with my gran is to wash up.
Yeah.
She would do so much cooking, and I would try and get her to sit down and let us wash up afterwards.
You could do all the. I mean, that's nice to have like a couple of hands in the kitchen kind of thing.
She always appreciated that.
That's nice. My grandmother is blind, actually. I mean, she has degrading eyesight, so she was able to see a little bit, and it's sort of gotten worse over the years. But when I was a kid, she could still relatively functionally sort of cook and bake for the most part. She had a machine in the kitchen that she could put recipes on, and it displayed it on like a big television screen above it. And so she would read these recipes that she had, on this sliding tray. And so she was always a big stickler about cooking exactly the way the recipe said, because she probably had difficulty freestyling.
Yes.
And so she always hated it when I cooked, I think, because I was just throw stuff in. And she was always like, no, what recipe are you using? You have to follow the recipe. But for Christmas she used to make peanut brittle, actually, and fudge. And I just remember our entire kitchen table being just covered in peanut brittle. That she'd make it in giant sheets, and then she'd like crack it up. Yeah. Later on in life, my aunt began a caramel business, and so during the holidays is when she'd do her biggest sales, right? Wow. And so we would be forced to sit around and wrap the caramels.
I was gonna ask, was it like little wrapped caramels?
Yeah, it was little wrapped caramels. Yeah,
oh, so cute. And was it different flavors?
She did she does like a standard caramel, and she did one with like walnuts, because our family does freaking walnuts.
Roast walnuts, right?
Yeah.
We should definitely get some of that next year.
Well, I'll let her know. I'll let her know that she should send us a batch, and we will test out her caramel.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. Well, this has turned out pretty well. I'm pleased. They definitely look like obviously like homemade mince pies, but I think that's what's charming about them. So
yeah, and they do have a nice little gloss on them.
Yeah, your egg wash ended up very, very nice.
I think that was worth doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're rustic. But not too soupy.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You described them as soupy at one point.
I did. When I pulled them out of the oven at one point, they were very wet, and I was like, oh, they're a bit soupy, but the soup factor has congealed. So I'm perfectly pleased with these. These are delicious. So thank you, sweetie.
Oh, I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Thank you for joining us for our New Year's 2022 video. For this upcoming year, Jess and I are actually going to be launching a YouTube channel called Crafter of Many Kinds. Jess will be helping me run the channel, and I will be doing videos about me doing crafting and art stuff, designing and making cool things. Jess and I will be doing some videos together, and probably as well with some of our artist friends if we can get them aboard. Please support us by subscribing to the Crafter of Many Kinds channel when it does launch, probably at the end of January, I want to say.
So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in 2022.
Thank you.